Hello, hello, and
Howdy, howdy,
hello.
howdy. Hello, hello.
Hi.
Well,
Hello.
welcome
Hey,
to the Bad
everybody.
Rican Show. Ah, man.
Oh,
You
were we
know,
supposed to clap?
no, that's
Oh,
just me.
oh.
Okay. I was going to say, okay, here you go.
It's been a while since we had so many people up here,
I know.
right?
Yeah,
I
it's been a
mean,
long time.
You
we
don't
are
ever
missing.
invite us.
Yeah, I mean, it's just I don't like you guys, but
I know. You don't
What?
ever invite us no
The
more.
feeling is mutual, Batty.
I love you guys.
Nice.
Hey,
And we love you
Debbie.
Hey,
more.
Cubby.
Hi, honey. Vodka. What the
Hi.
paranormal? Somebody blocked what the paranormal.
Hey.
Oh,
Uh-uh.
I'm sorry.
No. I heard that she
Kayla.
had it out for you, so that's why you want to
Oh,
block her.
oh, my fault. My fault. Okay. What we're gonna do today is trash on Amy Day.
Oh, no, we
And
ain't. You did that the other day.
okay. My apologies. I am so
Mm-hmm.
sorry. I mean, because
Mm-hmm.
I know the guys, Sean and Double D and myself, we were ready, but I guess we got that last time. Gotcha. No. What we're gonna do, we're gonna talk, ask some questions about tarot cards, reading and stuff like that, and we go one by one. I don't. My first question is, how long have you guys been doing this? Amy, you first.
So technically I'm still in the very, very beginning learning. I've been doing this for like probably
Notice,
2-3 years or so, but I'm still not comfortable giving full readings myself. I do still use the book a lot, and I have 2 decks that I'm comfortable with now that I don't use the book. But for me, I'm doing it very slowly because I want to be accurate with it. I don't want to just give a reading just to give a reading. And I know there's some up here that have done this way longer than me. But yeah, so I would say about 3 years total, about a year
okay.
where I can do it comfortably. So yeah,
Awesome.
that's it.
Oh, okay. Vodka.
Well, I suppose a bit the same. I started though when I was probably, about 16, and learnt quite a bit back then about them. But I really only did it for, I don't know, for a few years. And then, of course, what I call my physical world took over, life as it does. And had a family, all the rest of it. So wasn't really doing much with it. I've only really gone back into it in the last probably 2-3 years again and relearning everything because I'll be honest, I've had a couple of breakdowns in the last 20 years.
Gotcha.
And I have found that my memory has basically emptied out a lot of the stuff I used to know. So I'm relearning everything as I'm going. I mean, I have some, memories that pop in and go, oh, yeah, I know what that one means and know what that one means, but I'm basically relearning them. And so I'm using the books that come with them again a lot because I'm the same. I don't really want to be trying to remember and guessing and getting them wrong. So I'm basically relearning again myself, but I've always had an affinity with and towards tarot, being brought up with spiritualism and things. It's just one of many tools that is used in that area. So yeah, I've always had an interest in them, crystals, runes, things like that. I've actually just been given my mum's old runes. She's having a big clean out at the moment. So I'm going to go through and try and teach myself all about them as well eventually. So
Gotcha. Awesome. Jen, it's been a long time, girl.
Who,
Been a
me?
long time.
I'm always here. I'm always in the background. I'm always in the background.
Gotcha. So, same question to you, Jen.
16 days, 32 hours, and 17 seconds in total. I'm just kidding.
What? You had me going. Hold on. I know it's been more than that.
Altogether, roughly between 24 and 25 years. But variable in there because when I very first got given a tarot deck, I played around with it for a little bit and I kind of just like not really disregarded it, but just it pulled my interest because I have autism and ADHD. So learning a systematic like tarot, 70 cards that you have to learn the meaning of and decipher and everything. So I tried it for like a month or so and then I gave up. Like I was like, this isn't working.
Wow.
And then I got into Oracle and then I got into Thoth and Kipper and Lenormand and all that. And then I came back to tarot a few years later. And from there, I was able to pick it up faster when I learned the fundamentals of it. And then when I became a mother, I didn't want any divination near my children. I didn't want any of that. I didn't want them to be brought up with any of that. So I stopped completely cold turkey when I found out I was pregnant.
Oh wow.
Held off for about 5 years. And then I went back, and then that's when I really started getting quote unquote professional. Doing it more, but I did it as a motivational coach, and I've been doing it ever.
Oh wow. Oh, wow. That was a long time though. 25 years is a long time. I mean, when I see some of these readings, especially you, Jen, and I've seen Vodka do it as well. Do you guys, when you do a reading a different day, you guys always get a new deck? Am I right, Jen?
Not necessarily. I have certain decks that I gravitate towards. I own over 800 tarot decks as I stand. So I pick a different one every day of the week and read from it. But it's not necessary. There's some people that have one deck and that's all they use, and they have amazing readings. That's not how many decks or anything like that. It's the one that works for you.
Oh, okay. Same thing with you, Vodka?
Yeah, no, I don't use a new one every time. I find a lot of us gravitate. We'll have our preferred decks, if you like. I gravitate towards a couple at the moment that I've got, but I haven't got the typical Rider-Waite tarot yet, and that's what most generally use. But I do tend to lean towards I'm finding the Oracle cards a lot. It's just whatever I feel on the day. I'll gravitate towards that particular deck for that reading.
Okay, cool. How about you, Amy?
Oh, I have 2 decks for sure that I gravitate to for most readings, and I'm more of an Oracle. I'm not tarot. I'm still learning. But tarot to me is a little more structured and a little more precise, I guess you could say. And I'm not. And so I'm kind of all over the place. So to me, Oracle cards fit me better because they're a broader spectrum, you know. And so I gravitate more towards like the Moonology. I absolutely love Moonology. It's one of my favorite decks. And but yeah, I do. There's a couple that I go to, and I felt that I picked them up easier. And I don't know if it was, you know, my intent or, you know, whatever that I put into them or what, but it seems like those were easier for me to learn than some of the other ones, which I'm still going to learn, but those specific ones were just a lot easier for me.
Oh, gotcha. Now, I don't want to offend anybody, but I'm not a big believer in readings.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But do you guys, like, for example, when you're doing a reading, does it always like be spot on or not? Because I had readings before, and not by you guys, but, you know, people from, like, let's say for the mall or some other places.
Right. Well, some of those places are not going to be legit people either that actually know what they're doing. But I can't speak for everybody. But for me, I generally have pretty much been spot on. But some people don't understand that the reading that you get may not exactly be meant for you that day. It could be meant for you a week from now or a year from now, or it could be meant for somebody in your family and you just don't know it until it happens. And then it's like, aha, they have that aha moment. But for me, so far, just doing the Oracle, almost everybody that I've read, they said that they understood what the card was trying to tell them. So I can't speak for Vodka or Jen or anybody else, but to me, that's how it's always been for me.
Gotcha. How about you, Vodka?
Oh, look, there's touchy one. As Amy said, I don't really want to upset anyone either. But tarot is something that anyone can do in a sense.
Okay.
And there are many, many charlatans out there.
Right.
We know that. Look, some do it just typically for money. And I'm not going to say none of them are no good, because some of them may very well be. And it's because they've become so good they can charge. But yes, there are a lot out there that just pick them up, think they know what they're doing, don't learn them properly as such, or don't have that affinity with them. And look, it's all about perception and perspective, and whether you feel that it's right for you or not. Now, you're not always going to get a spot on reading, and that's fine, because they're not meant to answer a question literally. Messages like that come through, to me anyway, it gives you a little bit of a clue more than anything. It can be helpful for that day, that week, like Amy said, that month, that year. It may not be for right then, but it can give you another view on how to, something you're going through that perhaps you hadn't thought of, or a different perspective. So I've found that quite often they are dead on, particularly Jen. She's very, very gifted with tarot, particularly. And it's not just like learning for Jen. Sorry, hun, I don't mean to, but you can tell she's very gifted at this as well. She's not just learnt them as such. You know what I mean? Like, she has an affinity and what I call very gifted in reading. Way more than me. I'm relearning, and it's about also connecting with the cards and that side of yourself. They're not always dead on, no, and they're not meant in a sense to give yes no answers. It's only been more recently that some decks actually have yes and no in them, because generally, from the way I look at it and I understand it, it's giving you an idea,
right?
Some sort of tip or hint what may be coming up. So if you're looking for a direct answer, a lot of the time you won't get one.
Right.
And that's also to do with us, with our free will, because they can't say for sure something's going to happen, because you might not choose that direction.
Right.
For that to actually happen and come true. So, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not sure I'm explaining it very well, but I do, put it this way, I don't hold my every day, oh my God, that's going to come true, 100%. No.
Right.
But I think they can be helpful and useful to give you something to look out for. Another way of looking at things, or just some generalized help, basically.
Gotcha. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
they basically give you what they want you to know, not what you're necessarily asking for.
Gotcha. Dead on, Amy says. That's what I'm trying to say.
Gotcha. Now, Jen, there's a point that Vodka just said, that anyone can do it. Is that true?
If you can read a comic book, you can read tarot.
Really?
Okay.
Really?
Yeah. But I wouldn't trust them.
All right. Go ahead.
I taught my 10-year-old daughter how to read that way, and she's very accurate. it really depends because just divination, anything, it is human consciousness, human. So because like just what Vodka said, we have free will. You can go left instead of right. I can lay out an entire spread. It can be accurate, but it is up to tell the conduit, which is the reader, and be honest and open. Because
Gotcha.
a lot of people come to you and they're like, I want to know if he's coming back. It's always
Hmm.
Now
Wow.
you
You're breaking up a bit there, hun,
Yeah,
too, by the way.
it's getting a little bit difficult to understand.
back room, so it's kind of choppy. I apologize. It's all back. But nice. Guys,
We
hey,
lost you.
Yeah.
how about now?
There you go.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
It's called so the
Nope.
reception's bad.
Oh, it's still choppy.
Hey, ooh, I'll be right back.
You'll be right.
I'll
I
be
think she said. Yeah, I think she said she'll be right back.
Okay. Who disappeared? Sandra?
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
no.
I think she's going to try and come back in and see
Yeah,
guys-
I did because you're not including me.
Sandra, you do tarot card? No, you do pendulum,
No.
right?
I do the pendulum and I do divination dice, witches
How's-
tiles, and tea reading.
How does that pendulum work? How is that?
You have to have a connection with the pendulum. First of all, you got to get to know the pendulum like a friend. Like you really have to connect with it. And if you do connect with it, because sometimes you won't be comfortable with that pendulum or whatever.
Hmm.
So that happened to me once. I had a pendulum that wasn't for me and I used it and I regretted it. So, but it's like energy, my energy, but I'm not moving it like to the answers. Like I have a book and I put it over the book, and it's the pendulum that searches for the answers on what it sees. And the one I have today is usually spot on most of the time.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it has been.
Jen, you good?
Am I?
There you go. You
Oh,
sound
okay.
better.
It's good.
Yes.
No, I was in the back where we have like all the freezers and it's all brick, so the
Right.
reception's not that great. So I apologize. I tried to do it where it was quieter, but
Gotcha.
okay, so what was the question again?
Freezer.
I mean,
Wait a minute.
can anyone do it?
Like I said, if you can read a comic book, you can read tarot. That is the literal of it. It's a map of human consciousness done through numerology, pictures, elemental supports, and things like that. So if you can put these things together, and do it visually, yeah, anybody can read it. That's
Gotcha.
one part of it, but then there's intuition that comes into play. And intuition is when you get your people that can decipher things like characteristics on a stronger point of view, or names, or places, or things like that, and do a lot deeper dives. Those have become fewer and far between because egos have inflated so bad nowadays that there's not a lot of room for ego in the tarot or in much divination, because then you're just not open. You're only open to the subjective components of it. And you need to be very open with tarot. So can anybody read it? Yeah, anybody can read a book. You can teach anybody how to read, right? But it's what you do with it, how you input it, how you output it.
Right.
Okay. As far as the pendulum, is that the pendulum is that like a chain and something at the bottom of it, right? And then when you leave it like on a map or something, or on a something.
The pendulum could be a crystal. It could be some sort of metal too. And meanwhile, I have a book with charts. They're called charts, and different charts for different meanings and stuff like that. So,
Okay, okay. Um, Amy, when you do
What?
readings for a certain person, right?
Mhm.
Do you try to not manipulate? Do you try to, like, get information from them so they could get the right amount, the right card for what
No,
they're asking?
no. And most of the time, I don't even have them ask a question. I tell them to either think the question in their head, or I'm just saying I'm giving you a general reading. So basically, that's just whatever the cards think they need to hear at that moment, they're going to hear. So, and especially, and a lot of times I've noticed too, even with people that I know very well, the cards will say something totally different than what I even understand. So a lot of times it's not because I know you personally, because almost everybody I give reading for, I know personally. But these go deeper into things that I may not be aware of. And so sometimes they even surprise me. Sometimes I can be like, okay, yeah, that card was really meant for that person, you know. But no, I don't ever want them to ask me, even just like with Spirit Box and stuff, we don't want them to give us, you know, any details. We want them to be able to say, okay, yes, that was definitely meant for me.
Gotcha.
Okay.
All right. This for either one of you guys. When you're doing a reading and you get a bad reading, do you have to tell them? Either one. I
Well,
don't care.
to me, there's no such thing as a bad reading. Look, it's all in perception, and there's one thing that, of course, everybody freaks out about in the proper tarot is death card.
All right.
And now, death does not mean death, the Grim Reaper.
Like everybody thinks it does.
Everybody thinks it means, oh my God, I'm going to die, or someone I know is going to die. Look, death means in the tarot more means the ending of a situation or an issue or a problem, or you know what I mean? Like it's an ending of something happening in your life. So if there's been an issue or there's struggle or there's a problem, you know, it'll be referring to something. And most people, when you tell them that, then they think and they go, oh, yeah, I know what that's to do with.
Yeah.
And it's more that it's an ending of something, not necessarily, oh my gosh, the Grim Reaper's coming, you know. That's probably one of the easiest examples I can use because, look, it's all about the feeling and the message that comes through. It's not about literal looking at a card. And it's also like when the Tower card comes through, yes, it can mean a bit of confrontation is coming, a bit of fireworks, something's coming to a head, you know, there could be a little bit of troubled waters. But yeah, the Tower card, exactly, you know, I mean, that's the thing. The Tower card can mean, you know, there's a big problem coming. But that's preparing you to me. You know, it's giving you the heads up. So it's more to do with your interpretation, how you actually give the reading, and how that person, you know, accepts it and sort of whether they can relate to it or not. I find a lot of people look at the cards and take them literally, those type of cards, and panic. And that's not what it's for. It's just giving you the heads up that, you know, this could be happening in the next, you know, in your life, in the future, or there could be something happening now. So yeah, that's chaotic change. Yeah, exactly. It's a bit of chaos, bit of, you know, look out, bit of a warning. Yep, there's a bit of trouble coming, bit of chaos. And yeah, so I think it's up to the person reading the card too, to ensure that that other person knows these things, because they're so used to seeing a death card and just instantly assuming it means literal death.
Wow.
You know, so it's up to you to enlighten them as to, don't panic, it's okay. You know, these cards mean this in general.
You can blame Hollywood too for the death card thing because
Yeah,
every
that's
movie they get the death card. It's like, oh no, oh my god.
I have a
That's
question
what I was
along those
gonna
lines then
say.
too. How come
Go
though that some people have different meanings for the cards, and they kind of vary? It seems like they vary. I don't know. Is that just because of different decks, or is it?
Well,
Intuition.
yeah,
Intuition.
intuition and like I said earlier, like the Oracle, it's broader spectrum. It could have a lot of different meanings. It could have a lot of different scenarios. And that's why I like the Oracle better than I like tarot. That's why I'm not very good at tarot. But yeah, there's broader spectrums, and plus you kind of put your own intent into your own cards. That's why you really don't read other people's cards. You read your cards. And so whatever one card means to me may not mean the same exact thing to somebody else that's reading.
Okay. Debbie had a question here. Jen, why is it you see more women doing tarot card than men? I mean, to be honest, I didn't see any men before. All I do see is women.
All of my tarot readers that I follow and my mentor is all male.
Really?
So I know there are a lot of women. There are a lot of women. Just like saying, like, why do a lot of men run for president? It's it happens to be that way because it happens to be that way. But there's a lot of, I think, because women can express and they get more into the emotions and the ideologies. Like, we can maneuver the consciousness a lot more thorough in some regards than males who are more straightforward.
I was going to say, yeah, no, don't mean it in any
Might
bad
have a little
way,
more
but
of
a lot of men
intuition
are black
also.
and white.
Yeah, it's like I said, my mentor, he's been on
That's
YouTube
right,
for a little bit,
intuition has a lot to do with it.
but he's been reading for off and on for 10 years, and he's amazing at it. He's an energy worker and everything, and he's the only person I allow to read my cards, like to read for me. Anybody else, I will take what you say, and I will always be open to it. But if I need something, or I'm like, look, I'm struggling, that's who I go to. But that's because I relate better to the way he presents the advice and information. I don't want all the fluff and blah blah blah. I want direct and straightforward. And a lot of male readers give it more direct. And a lot of people, when they go to readers, they're usually in an emotional situation. They want to be explained to. They want to, worst case scenario, best case scenario. They want it all instead of the literal. So it's just all in what you're looking for is how I see it. And so I think a lot of people see that comfort in female versus male.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, me personally, I think women is more closer to their emotion, right? That's what you're trying to say?
Yeah.
It's
Like
more
I was
closer
saying,
to
like
them.
guys see things, a lot of men see things very black and white, and take that emotion and the intuition side of things out of things. You know what I mean? Like they tend to be maybe not quite as open,
Gotcha.
perhaps.
Okay.
So it's not to say there aren't. There are some actual very good male readers out there. But yes, you will find, and I think that has a lot to do with it. We are more in tune with our emotions, perhaps, and accept them more. So I think it makes us a little more open, perhaps, to
Gotcha.
being able to do it well.
Well, I think too, women doing the reading, you're just as vulnerable as the person getting the reading. And so I think, especially being on a platform where you're either live or recording and, people are going to see, I think men, there's a lot of men readers, they just don't want to be in the spotlight, kind of reading, to where we're able to take the vulnerability kind of, because women are in vulnerable situations all the time.
Right.
I mean, so we're a little less embarrassed about it and stuff like that. So I think that has a lot to do with it too. It's
all about that macho thing.
Vulnerable. Exactly.
Yeah, it's all about that macho.
Okay.
Go ahead. You got a question?
Yeah, I have a question for probably all of you. So we were talking about intuition, and that's how you actually read the cards and all. Okay, but how does the cards get chosen? Isn't it? Do you believe it's like an energy? Do you believe it's like your spirit guides? Do you believe it's spirits themselves? Do you think it's something to do with telepathy, or is it to deal with quantum physics and stuff like that?
Good
I
question.
think everybody chooses their cards differently, but I think that the card itself is chosen for that person. So whatever energy they're putting out, it's like the cards can sense it.
Okay.
I don't know how to like verbalize all this stuff as well as Jen or Vodka does, but like the card is chosen for that person. So whether it be your spirit guides helping you, or their spirit guides helping you,
Okay.
you don't choose it yourself.
Gotcha.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
It's all about energy and intent to me, as well. I mean, everything is energy. And that's where I say about, positivity attracts positivity, negativity attracts negativity. It's all to do with the energy. But I personally, I always like to cleanse my cards. I think that's important, especially when you get a new deck. But in between every reading also, because you don't want a residual energy left from one reading going into somebody else's, into the next reading.
Gotcha.
So that's very important. And yeah, I do. I ask my guides, and those of the highest and the best, the angels, light and love, God, whatever your thing is. I am being cards, a little more spiritual. So guides, angels, positivity, highest, best, love and light. You ask for, well, I personally ask for whatever information this person needs to know at this time. But like Amy said, it can be, you can ask them to ask a question in their head if they have a question, or is it more just a generalized what's going on in the next 6 months thing? It's up to that person. And same, I don't really want them to ask a question. I'd like it for them to talk to their guides or what their belief is in their head, so I don't hear it. So it doesn't influence me in any way. It's all to do with the cards. And generally, if they're there, I will actually get them to shuffle the cards whilst they are thinking about their question, to put their energy into the cards so that it's coming out for them. But yeah, that's my perspective anyway. I'm very much on energies, guides, that sort of thing. Yeah.
So a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was a good one. My question now is, Jen, Vodka, Amy, Sandra, when you guys do your tarot card and your pendulum, right? Do you how should I say it? Not blessed, but get yourself ready before you do a reading? Do you have some kind of not a ritual, but something that you're praying over your card or something, let the right card show for the right person, blah blah blah, and all that? Jen, you want to answer that?
Yeah, my cleansing is basically what it is, and charging of my space is what I do. So before, anytime I open myself up to readings, I take a shower. But when I take my shower, I don't use any soaps or anything like that to be devoid of all ego, but I am cleansing myself of anything that could be energetically on me. And then my space, I vacuum, I wipe things down. I use certain blessed waters and charged waters. I have crystals. I mean, you guys have seen them during readings. And I meditate, I cleanse my mind, and I just say I want to be open to the energies as they so should come forward to me to bring the proper and best information to the people who seek it. And that's how I use what the world needs, the energies, whatever. Everybody's different. Who I pray to is not who the person who comes to me prays to. So I don't want to use my angels or guardian or higher powers or anything like that to influence that reading if that's not the conduit between us. So I just allow whatever energies need to come forward from that person, any messages or anything like that. So I try to harvest it that way, if I can be so bold as to call it harvesting. And I just allow myself to pass it onward. That's all I do.
Oh, okay, okay.
Okay. That's a good way to
Sandra,
go.
the pendulum. Do you
Yeah.
do the same thing?
Similar. I just take it and meditate with it and explaining to it what we will be doing, like a live stream of reading so many people, different situations and stuff. And when I go, like, let's say I'll go investigate, like I bring it sometimes, and it's easier for a spirit to like just tip on it, so it'll give an answer, yes or no.
Mm,
So, but I always connect with it, and I usually try to connect with it like every day
mhm.
if possible. So,
Gotcha.
and
Okay.
Okay.
Amy?
Right now I just cleanse the space and I cleanse my cards. And then I do say prayers beforehand. I do have my crystals, and I always light a white candle just because that calms me down. Because I want to be as calm and as relaxed as possible as well. So,
Gotcha.
but yeah, that's basically all I do right now.
Okay, okay. I want to say hi to Eddie and Jen. Adam, what's going on? Who else is here?
Hey,
Melissa,
Daddy and Jen,
Debbie, Beth.
Adam,
I'm sorry I didn't
how
say
you doing?
hi to you guys. I was, I'm with the panel, and we're just asking question about the pendulums and asking question about tarot card reading as well. But thank you for coming, everybody. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You guys have any more questions? There was a question here. I gotta look for it. Let me see. Where is it?
Oh, hi again.
Um, Something about date. Who was that? Man, so far down. Hmm. I mean, whoever had a question on there, could you please put it back up if you had a question, or anybody who ever question for the tarot card or
So I think that was
pendulum.
Beth
Uh,
asking about then how come some can give you dates.
yeah, something.
But I
About
see
date.
another one from Debbie as well.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean the cards themselves can give dates, but I find a lot of it is the intuition of the
Oh, here
reader.
it is. Here it is.
Yeah.
How do people give dates for something happening?
Hmm.
Vaca?
I'm most of the ones I know, it's mainly based through your intuition, and yes, okay, cards can. But I'm not a big believer on giving date thing, to be honest, because as I said, depending on which road or path you decide to take every day, really is going to affect whether that thing happens or not. So I'm not overly keen on the date thing in card readings myself, unless it's general, but specific dates. Yeah, look, I don't tend to do that. I don't know many that do. There are a few that I've come across that do, and I've mainly found they're extremely gifted in the psychic area. So
Gotcha.
they're actually being given a date while they're reading the cards for you. But it can be in cards as well. Jen's got a lot more clue on that than I do. She's got a lot more experience. So go for it, Jen.
Okay.
Well, there's numbers on the cards, so you can use that. You can also go by the element that a card is representing. So fire would be more rapid, things happening quicker, as in days, weeks, and water being slower, as in, months to years, things like that. And then you can also base it on the dates on the cards. I don't like giving out dates because I feel ethically that's immoral. because like I said, tarot is the map of consciousness, and human beings have free will and ego, and we change like we change clothing. So I could say December 16th, and that might happen. You might completely forget I gave you that date, and something happened on December 16th that correlated with that reading, and I could be spot on. But I always tell people, why do you want to date? It's our mind and our ego that says, I need, I want this.
Yes.
The tarot doesn't respond like that. It can. I've had things where it's like, look, it keeps coming out this way, so I'm going to tell it to you. But we have a moral and an ethic code as readers that what we put out there has to enrich you somehow. It has to be the information that is what is needed for you, not necessarily what you want. So we're responsible for what we say, just like how doctors are responsible for the medical advice they give. So yeah, we're not medical professionals, but we are taking spiritual advice and giving it to you, and some people take that at like gold value. So you have to be very careful with what you say, and if you don't think that you're spot on with some stuff, or that you're kind of iffy, don't give out dates. Just like you don't predict deaths and pregnancies, you just got to be very careful.
Hey, Eddie said his wife has a question on the panel. Has anyone been drawn to a person through the card? Anybody want to answer that?
I haven't. Not yet.
No? How about you,
Not
Jen?
for me.
Like a card has drawn me to a person, like
It says, has anyone been drawn
to a
to a
person.
person through the cards?
Kind of, yes, I guess you could say. I've actually had the cards tell me to avoid people more than they draw me to them. So that's usually
Yeah.
what happens for me.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
That's
Debbie had a question earlier too, Batty.
what you had. Yeah.
Who guides the cards when it's a general reading for a lot of people, like the weekly readings on YouTube, when it's not for a specific person? That's probably aimed at me because I've been doing my hump days. I basically ask for any information. It's sort of, one of those, I talk to my guides thing, and I talk to the cards, and I just ask them for any information that any of my subscribers or fam need to know for the rest of this week. And I actually say for the rest of this week to them. So that is a specific time frame. But there are occasions when, because I'm more about the feelings, as I'm still reconnecting and trying to get my third eye to open up again, I sort of do I ask for any messages for my subscribers. I'm about to put this up on the internet, on YouTube, for my subscribers or my fam or you guys, to any information they may need to know that may for the rest of the week. So I sort of specifically ask for any information for anyone who may watch, but specifically aimed towards my subscribers and my fam, which is you guys. So if you watch it. So that's me. Anyway, I don't know how the other ladies would go about it.
Well, I don't generally do like the readings for a broad spectrum, but I can say, like, especially when Vodka does her weekly Wednesday ones, that even though it's just one specific reading, it has so many different meanings. Because just like the one that she did last week, me and my mom both took it two totally separate ways. Like it meant something totally different to me as it did to my mom. Like we both related to the same exact reading, but it meant two totally different things to both of us.
Oh, okay.
So,
And that's it. It's up to that person's watching interpretation.
exactly.
Whether it pertains to them or not, for a start. And that's the thing. You can come watch and it has nothing to do with anything in your life, and that's all good too. It wasn't meant for you.
Right.
So but that's a perfect example actually of two people watching the same thing and getting something different out of the exact same reading.
Gotcha.
So it's up to your personal feeling and your interpretation of what you're seeing as well. whether it actually resonates towards you or not.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
Gotcha. Jen, earlier you said watch out for the tower card. What's that supposed to mean?
The tower card is just chaos, but ultimately it's a middle median card, meaning it's representing change. That's all it really represents. Every card can be a negative and a positive depending on how you view it or how the message is put out there. The tower card is like, when you look at it, it's a tower that's coming down with lightning in the background and people falling out of it and all this stuff. It's coming to the ground, right? Something is unstable in your life right now, or something's unstable in that situation, and it's going to create some chaos before it levels out. And
Gotcha.
from there, you can regrow, you can rebuild upon a new foundation. So, is it a bad thing? Yeah, it's going to be a weird experience, but at the end, it's giving you the freedom to try again. So, see how it's a negative upon a positive upon a negative? It's all perception.
Mhm.
So,
Gotcha.
you could be going through a divorce, but that kind of means you're opened up to new people, right? So,
Right.
kind of like that.
Oh, that's cool. So what are in your decks, what are the most important cards in there? Unless you'll say all of them are, but I mean the main cards is what? What are the main cards in the deck? Is Jen, Vodka, Amy?
well, you sort of got it right. They're all important, but I suppose if anyone had to pick one for the normal, the tarot right away, typical tarot cards, probably the major arcanas and the minor arcanas, which are not you because you've got like wands, pentacles, blah blah blah, but then you've got Empress, Tower, Death. Those ones are more the major and minor arcanas, whereas the major arcanas, whereas the wands and pentacles, you'll see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They're more the minor ones, but really they're all important. Otherwise it wouldn't be a deck of tarot cards.
Gotcha.
So yeah, I don't know, girls. You got any other thought on that?
No, that's about the only thing I know about it too. Because like I said, I'm still learning all the stuff, but one doesn't. They all play a part of each other, and so like even the smallest cards play a huge part in even some of the upper decks meanings and stuff. So, and sometimes you need those smaller smaller cards to finish out or to figure out more and get more perception of one of the bigger cards that you just read.
Gotcha.
Yep, good point, Amy. Very good point.
I have a question for you ladies.
I do too.
Do you let people touch your cards?
No.
Good question.
Because my mom, she reads cards, but the cards you use to play poker and stuff like that, and they're just specific to her card readings.
Mhm.
So don't go play blackjack with it or whatever, because she'll kill you. But we can't touch them. So is it the same for you guys?
I don't. I know a lot of people let people cut the deck, and stuff like that and everything. So far, I'm just like I'm very attached to my cards, and I don't want anybody touching them. And you have a cat or something behind you, Vodka, because your blind just kind of went like something jumped in. No, the one
saw it too.
other side.
I get
The
lots
other-
of birds.
The other
No,
side.
the one behind you.
Other side. That one.
Yes,
It
I
just
saw it too.
pushed into it really hard.
Yes.
Okay, but what was I saying? Oh yeah, so no, I don't want anybody touching my cards, especially like Lainey. She's constantly wanting to get in there and and I told her I will get you a deck and get you started on it, but please do not touch my cards. I don't like people touching my cards. No.
How about you, Vodka? You don't let nobody touch yours?
I'm not as stressed about it, to be honest. But I mean, I don't really have anyone in my household except maybe my daughter or my mum. See, my mum is very intuitive, and this is where I've learned a lot of this from. She's very psychic, although now with her age and all her health issues, she just purely, she gets the odd message now and then, but she's not really doing any of this anymore. But I think also is, for me, I do prefer to get that person's energy if I'm doing a reading. Now, if it's just in general, do I let people come play with my cards? No, not really. But I'm not as
Anal.
protective. Yeah, I was going to use, you read my mind. I just wanted to. I'm not as anal about my cards as a lot of people are. You know, to me, I can cleanse them. It's fine. If you'd like to have a look at the deck, because look, I've got some pretty decks, you know, the illustrations are just gorgeous. And I don't mind if you'd like to sit there and just look at them, you know, and flick through them and have a look at the illustrations. That's fine. I'll cleanse them after you've touched
I've
them.
let people look at them. I just don't like to.
How about you, Jen? I know you got a
That's
lot of
fine. A lot of people are like that. Look, it was an old rule, basically, you know,
Right.
in a sense.
Right.
But I sort of, with the spiritual people I was around a lot, there were half of them were like that, and then the others would just go with the flow, you know. And I sort of try to be a bit more go with the flow, because I am so high strung in so many other areas of my life. So, you know, this one I sort of try and chill, and I think, no, I can cleanse them, but I don't have a lot of people around anyway to be going through my cards, you know. The only person I would actually let use my cards themselves would be my mother. But yeah, no, I'm not as protective over mine anyway.
Oh, okay. How about you, Jen?
Depends. To me, my cards will let me know if someone's allowed to touch them or not. And if I don't like you, you're not touching anything that I own. So that's my deck. But if if my cards are drawn to somebody, there's a reason for that. I've taken a 25-year-old deck and given it to somebody because I was like, you have a draw to them, they're now yours. I believe my cards have an energy, and I believe everything has an energy that it tells me what it wants. And so I've had cards that I've had for, like I said, years. And somebody's like, I'm really drawn to them. These are beautiful. And I'm like, they're for you. And they're like, no, I don't read. And I was like, keep them. If you want them and learn from them, go for it. If not, pass them to somebody, but they're meant to go to you. Do I let anybody touch decks that I'm very particular on, like my heritage decks and stuff like that? I will fan them out and show them to you, but I don't want to mix energies unless it's, like I said, unless my deck says, yeah, it's fine. And I'll get that sense from it because I have that energetical feel with something where it'll feel vibrational or start to feel warm in my hand. And then I'll just kind of intuitively listen to what needs to happen. So I'm different than most people. But I've had my daughter touch my decks, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, why are you playing with them? And so, because kids are drawn to things like that,
Right.
So I'd be like, what are you doing with them? And they're like, I'm just looking at them. They're pretty. And those are the ones that I've given to my daughter. But like I said, there are some decks, if I don't want anyone touching them, they're put away. They're hidden. So they won't be drawn to you at all. Mostly because I don't want my deck saying, hey, I want to take off with these people now. Because it's like, no, you're mine and I want to keep you. But that's how I am.
Oh, wow. You guys have any other questions?
I got a question. I know tarot cards were also, besides divinations, they're also actually a playing card. Do anybody know how to play the game?
You mean like cardomancy, like gypsy cards?
Yeah, I'm not sure what the game.
Okay.
I know it was actually a game at one time before people started using it for divination.
I didn't even know that.
They took playing cards, like your regular poker cards. They call them gypsy cards, but that's how gypsies used them back then. And the Romanis would use standard playing cards because the only way you could get tarot cards back in the day, because they were not mass produced, was either you stole them or they were given to you. That was the only two way to get them because they were so valuable. Because you have to remember, kings and queens and everything relied on their readers to tell them what to do for wars and things like that. They have readers come in. And so those cards, you could get paid heavy and in pocket from a king if you could read. So people would go into a gypsy's cart, steal her cards, and then she's lost her life's fortune. Exactly. So that's where you get into people saying how your first deck has to be given to you, blah, blah, blah. That's where that comes from. It was either given to you because you were worthy of it, or you stole it.
Yeah.
Don't go around stealing tarot cards. You're going to go to jail.
Mhm.
Mm.
A lot of people, they have that mentality of like, oh my God, I read somewhere that cards have to be given to you. No, they don't. They're mass produced now. You can go get a card deck from Barnes and Nobles tomorrow. You can get them anywhere.
That goes with Beth's question. What's behind your first deck being gifted to you?
Yeah.
That was an older way of passing on the torch, and when someone saw something in a person, they would gift them their first deck of tarot cards too. It may be
it's just
family.
tradition.
And that's exactly, it was a tradition, basically.
It's
But
it's like a dad giving his daughter away as a bride. You don't have to, but a lot of people do it that way. So, but yeah, it has its variables. It's all in what you want to do. It's your energy.
yeah, exactly.
Okay. Now,
And same thing with what Eddie's saying. Look, that was, as I said, no, in the old days, nobody would let anyone touch their cards.
right.
And as Jen explained, there was a reason for that way back when.
Yeah.
And a lot of clairvoyants and psychics will still go with, don't touch my cards. Because it can, potentially disrupt the readings and damage the cards. Interpretation again. It's up to the person who owns the cards. If they're going to go by the very old way, that's fine. That's their choice, and it's all good. There is no problem with that. But as I said, doesn't really bother me. I'm not really shackled to the old traditions of tarot reading. If your intent, and like Jen was saying, depends on who's wanting to look at them too. If I feel they shouldn't be touching them at all, I won't let them touch them. It's as simple as that. But it's up to interpretation yet again.
But as a reader, have you guys ever felt like you shouldn't touch somebody? Like you're like, I don't want to be near you. I don't want to be near your cards because they put off an energy. I've had that happen where they're like, "Have you seen these?" And I'm like, "No, that's okay. I'm good.
Yeah.
I'll go buy my
Well,
own." Like,
that's a good one. Yeah.
I've had that happen where I'm like, I don't want to be near your tarot decks. Like,
Wow.
I'm good.
That's
very much
crazy.
so.
Because either they
And
don't
it's that
cleanse
energy.
them or what, but
Yet we're picking up that energy, and something is telling us, no, whether it's the deck, the person, the energy, the intent, there have been some.
they can transfer that energy to you and mess you up for a couple days, believe it or not. So that's one of the
Wow.
reasons why people that are, where you have your clairs, and like if you're clairsentient and you're very energetical like I am, and somebody gifts you something with ill intent, I'll feel it right away.
Yes.
Right.
And I will literally have to go get a cleansing done and all kinds of stuff because I touched the thing because I was trying to be nice, But
Right.
Yeah. But that's right. That's why I cleanse my cards anyway, regardless, every time they're used, whether they've been touched by somebody else or not. And if someone touches them, I cleanse them. Simple as
Okay.
that.
My last question is
Slim had a question too on there.
Who?
Slim.
What Slim have?
He's asked it a couple of times. Do you feel 100% that cards tell the truth, or what is your percent in your belief in the card readings? Mine's 100% because I believe in myself and I believe in my cards.
Okay. You too, Vaca?
Yeah, because to me, I've asked for whatever message needs to be given to that person the reading is for. So I trust that the message coming through, the cards, that have been pulled are the ones that were meant to be pulled for that particular message. So I trust them. But as I say, whether that actually resonates with that person, if they have no clue what that card is about, that's all good. Leave that there. Because at the moment, it may have nothing to do with anything you can think of. It may be something down the track that you don't know is coming, or a situation that hasn't happened yet. That's okay too. So again, yes, I do trust mine. I think most of us do, because we're the ones asking for the right message, or the right, asking in the way we do. I do anyway.
Gotcha. How about you, Jen?
it's subjective. What I pick up on and what I put out there. If you tell me I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. But you're going to tell me I'm wrong because you don't want to believe what I say either. So I don't think that the cards are going to say what they need to say. It's up to me as the conduit to interpret that properly, to give you the information or to give the person seeking that information. But if they don't believe it to be true, or they refuse it, or literally push that information away, then it can't be true. It's not really my fault, but at the same time, like I said, it's subjective. I have a very strong capability, and I have a lot of belief in myself, and I have a lot of belief in my ability, but it is not my responsibility to make sure you receive the information correctly. So that's how I look at it.
Well, I did have one question, but now I got two. Well, this one, this question is, do you have people, when you do reading for those people, did you have people that disagree with your reading? I mean, really disagree with your reading?
I haven't so far, but I haven't done a whole lot per se. But so far, I haven't run into anyone like that yet.
You, Vaka?
Yeah, same as Amy. I haven't read for a lot. But no, when I haven't had that many that, yeah. They may not recognize something in the cards, and that's fine. It may not be happening right then. So, but yeah, not with the disagree as such, no.
Okay. How about you, Jen?
Of course. Especially when I...
Uh-oh.
I'm breaking up again.
I've had it where people have told me, no, you're wrong, because I've said, hey, your husband's cheating on you, your spouse is cheating on you. There's more than one person in this mix. No, there's no way. There's no way. And then they come back a week later because I was correct.
Wow.
It really depends on what you're open to. So
yeah, I got that with my pendulum. I took out a secret from a guy that he was cheating on his wife. The pendulum was pointing at that particular place. So yeah, his secret was out.
So it's just the guy just got divorced. That's it.
They'll get mad and start screaming and be like, no, there's no way you can be, you're lying, you just don't want me happy. I'm like, what does that have to do with me? I don't care if you're happy or not. Like, what does that have to do with me? Like, why would I lie?
It's just because some things are so hard to hear. They've already got the inkling. They just don't want to be told they're right, and because it's the worst thing you can imagine. You know,
they have to swallow that, and then they realize, like, oh my God, I'm now seeing it through the eyes I didn't want to open.
They want to hear it, but they're not ready to hear it.
Yeah, and that's what I get usually. 9 times out of 10, that's what I'll get.
All right. My last question is, do you guys do reading for yourself? Not for others, for yourself?
Nope, never.
Never?
Nope.
I've never done a reading for myself.
How about you, Vaka?
Yep.
You done it before?
I will go to my cards, and I will ask sometimes because I'm having a really tough time with something, or there's something that's really I'm very undecided about. And a lot of the times they basically laugh at me and go, ha, 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 you've got to figure this out on your own. And I'm like, please help me. So a lot of the time, people who do, like me, they may just go, you got to figure this one out on your own, girl. We ain't giving you any hints, So a lot of the time, that's why a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
Because they tend to, you can misinterpret, or basically you're just not given the answer that you're looking for half the time. But if I'm really struggling, sometimes I'll just go and pull, I'll shuffle, I'll ask, I'll pull one card.
Yeah, you're messing up the day.
That's right. Yeah, and a lot of the time
is give me a message and write it down and see what happens at the end of the day. With how did that apply? That's usually what most of us will do. But like an actual reading, you really couldn't do it for yourself because you're involved.
Yeah, I feel like I would improve mine by at least 60% and I would take it all in ways that it's not actually meant to be. I would try to make it better for myself when indeed I actually needed the truth, and I don't. So that's why I don't give myself readings.
Gotcha.
Or I could see
Yeah,
it taking it
I'll tend
all
to
negative
my
too, and
mum.
all doom and gloom, and
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'll tend to ask my mum if I feel really that I need a reading. Or, of course, when lovely sisters are doing them, I will definitely listen in and listen because I know I need to hear something. And you girls, you're always right. Dang it. You know you are. And sometimes I need that smack in the face or the gentle or the whatever the message is. But, I mean, that's why I laughed at myself because if you do it yourself, half the
Okay.
time they're laughing at you going, you shouldn't be doing this. I'm not
Right.
going to tell you what you need to know. So I'll go to mum and go, Mum, or she'll say, because I say, look, Mum, I've got a feeling I need to give you a reading. And she's like, well, guess what? Ditto. And so we'll do a reading for each other. That doesn't happen often, but once every few years, all of a sudden, both of us will be together. And then I'll get, Mum, I got to read you these ones. And she's like, really? I got to give you one. And I went, so yeah, I mean, I do, but I shouldn't.
Gotcha. I got one question, and this is only a yes and no answer. Have you, all four of you, ran into a non-believer?
Yes,
Yep.
Always.
Okay.
every day.
All right. Well, my hour is up because I know April doing the live at 8:45. So I'd like to see all of y'all there. I want to thank my panel for coming up, my tarot card, my pendulum lady. All you beautiful people on the chat, thank you for coming. Thank you for joining in. And I'll see you next week. And I love you guys. You guys have a blessed day. Enjoy
Love
yourself.
y'all.
Bye.
Good night.
Love you guys.
Twinkies for life.
Peanut butter.